What's good, guys? My name's Adam Lewis. I'm a mixing and mastering engineer specializing in hip-hop and all other urban genres. Welcome to the third episode of my mix breakdown series, where we're looking at something a little bit different today. This is actually an R&B song by an artist named Imani. The track's called Love Well, and I want to just play you a little part of the track now so you can get a feel of what we're going to be looking into.
Yeah, distant lover, I can't trust you, so consider this goodbye. We might as well love well, live well. We might as well love well, live well.
So as you can hear, it's a really nice sounding song. I did 4 tracks for this artist about 3 years ago. They're all out on Spotify and all the platforms, so go and check them out when you get a chance. But today we're going to be looking at Love Well. So as we're looking at a little bit of a different genre today, I wanted to actually go about this in a different way. I'm going to start by playing you the song or parts of the song before I did anything to them. So the complete raw stems, how they came to me, so you can get a feel of what I heard when I first pulled the song up. And I'm going to try and talk you through sort of my philosophy and what I thought was the main things that I need to look at on this track. And I'm not going to go through every single stem. I'm just going to show you specific parts that I thought needed the most work and also the things that had the biggest impact. So here is the stems as they came to me. I'm going to play you a verse part and a chorus part so you can get a feel for how it sounded completely dry.
Something in the water got me feeling like ice. Oh, you press my buttons and get under all my skin. Something in our water, we know you only tonight. Yeah, distant lover, I can't trust you, so consider this goodbye. We might as well love well, live well. We might as well love well, live well.
So that's a little introduction to how the song sounded when it came to me. Now, the things that, it's an unmixed song, so there's a lot of things that we can point out, but I want to just play you the beat on its own for this verse part and just tell you kind of what I thought were the main priorities when I heard this. So there's a number of things that jump out at me when listening to this instrumental, but the main thing on this part was this snap here. Just way too dry, needs a hell of a lot of reverb just to smooth it out and just to carry it through. So each click, each snap will have a reverb that carries through to the next one. The bass also sounded a little bit muddy, and there's just not enough space in the track, in the beat. We need more space and width, we need to pan things, we need to get some effects going to really kind of bring it to life. So let me play the chorus part of the beat as well so we can see the main things that stand out for that. So the main thing for me is the relationship between the kick and the bass needs really sorting out. I don't think the kick's coming through as nicely as it could do. I think the bass is a bit kind of lumpy and muddy as well. And then some balancing on the drums. Some things are a little bit loud, some things are too quiet. And overall, we need more space, we need more width. So what I'm going to do now is switch over to my mixed version and show you how it sounded fully mixed. So we're kind of starting here with the before and after. So here is the fully mixed song. And as I mentioned in the intro, I did mix this song a number of years ago. So again, this is not my standard way of working now. Every few years things change, new plugins come out, I discover new methods. So things on this track are different to how I mix now, but still the same principles apply. As you can see, I've just done the beat is in this green color and the vocals are in the blue color. Nothing more technical than that. I'm not really a colors guy. I don't really feel the need to have everything colored. I know some people do, and that's fine. But for me, just having a color for the beat and a color for the vocals is fine. So I'm going to play you the same sections that I played you of the raw version now as the mixed version and see what you think. And then we'll go through what I did.
Something in the water got me feeling like ice. Oh, you press my buttons and get under all my skin. Something in our water we know you only deny. Yeah, distant lover, I can't trust you, so consider this goodbye. We might as well love will live well. Oh, we might as well love will live well.
Okay, so that's the same section that I played you of the before, just so I can quickly show you how the track sounds once I finish with it. I'm going to show you from here. I'm going to mute the vocals for now because obviously there's a lot of work going on them, but we'll get to that in a second. So we'll start with the instrumental. So for this part of the song, as you can see, there's nothing going on up here apart from this metal here. We've mostly got the bass here, we've got a snap, and we've got various instruments here. So the first thing, as I mentioned on the rough mix, was I needed this snap to have a big extended reverb on it. So that's the first thing we did. So again, this is the before. And after. I mean, it's night and day. So what we did on that, first of all, I thickened it up down here a little bit. I wanted to add more kind of, I don't know, more density to the clap or click or snap, and then a little bit of brightness too. The main thing is this Reverb Valhalla Room with quite a long decay time on it. So you can hear exactly what that's doing. And then after that, I widened the reverb tail a little bit by using S1 Imager by Waves. Just pushed it up a touch there to add a little bit more space. So let's mix that in with the bass now. And I'll show you what I did to that too. So not a whole lot, a little bit of dipping here on 200 just to reduce a little bit of mud. And then after that, bit of compression with the MV2 just to kind of squash it together a little bit. Okay, there's a pad going here which is actually going all the way throughout the whole song. Not done a lot to this, sounded great as it was. We'll bring in the Rhodes now. And all I've done with these is, as you can see, reduce some muddiness and some low end, which is not really needed down there. Same with this one. And then I've panned them left and right slightly just to add more space. As I said, I thought that the raw song, the rough song, there just wasn't enough width, you know, and space going on. So I just panned them left and right. Let me play them together. And as you can see, those three instruments go all the way throughout the whole song. Now we have this piano part here, which just comes in on the second half of the two verses. So really nice sounding piano. Dipped a little bit of low mids here and boosted a little bit of highs, and then I've added some reverb with the lustrous plates. Let me play you before and after with that. So this is before. So as you can hear, it kind of just sweetens it up a little bit. Now we'll get into the main drums of the song, which are the ones that kind of mostly come in on the chorus. So I'll play you all of the drums together and we'll go from there. So the main thing that I've done here with the kick, this kick it was really eating up a lot of headroom in the mix. You know, sometimes you get certain kick sounds and they can really swallow up all your headroom. And when it comes to trying to master the song, you're not able to get much level out of the song without it really distorting and really testing your limiters to the max. So I've rolled off here up to around 40 hertz, which just helped to give the whole track a little bit more headroom. And then I've dipped here as well at 200 just to reduce some mud. And then I've boosted quite a wide boost here just to bring up some more sort of snap or click into the kick. So let me solo that on its own and play before and after. So pretty subtle, but it helped. And then after that, we're actually using a limiter here to just bring down the peaks of this kick, because as I said, it was just eating up all the headroom in the mix. So sometimes I use this method to get around that, which is basically to just crush the kick a little bit with a limiter, and it just adds more headroom to the overall mix. You know, that's not supposed to be changing the sound, so that's good that you can't really hear any differences there, because it's more functional than sound that we're going for there. So with the snare, with all these instruments here, the snare, the hats, and the wood, all I'm doing is a little bit of leveling, and then I'm sending them all to a reverb. So there's a slight reverb being added. So all of those drums, but nothing major, so I'm not going to go through all of that with you. There's two main hats here, which are quite loud in the mix. You'll hear them now. And as you can see, what I've done with them is just panned them left and right to, again, just add more space in the mix. Now I know we're kind of jumping about here with the beat, but I want to show you what I did down here to this vocal sample and a couple of other little bits and bobs in the beat. So we have this vocal sample, which comes in on the choruses. So I've added quite a bit of air to this with this fresh air plugin. So this is without. But the main thing I've done is added a ping pong delay. That kind of stereo delay that you can hear on them wasn't on the original, so this is without it. And this is with. I just thought it worked. You know, it sounded nice in the mix. After that, we've got a couple of things like a riser and a little flick here. So I don't want to spend too much time going through the little intricacies of what I did with this beat, because as I've shown you, it's quite small adjustments. Overall, I think it makes a big difference, but there's nothing major that I've done with it. The one thing I did do after all of the mixing of the individual stems is put this Greg Wells Mix-Centric plugin on the overall beat, and it just sort of adds some glue and adds some brightness. So I'm going to play it without and with. So I think it really adds something. It kind of glues the track together. Obviously, it's adding some level as well. So that was the beat. Now we're going to get onto the vocals. So I want to quickly walk you through the structure of the song before we get into what I did with these vocals in terms of treatment. So it's quite a simple song. We have verse 1 here, verse 2 here, and then a sort of outro section over here. Now, for the first verse, it's just one layer, single layer. Second verse, we have some BVs and ad-libs down here. And third verse, we have some BVs, ad-libs here as well. On the chorus, there's one main layer. It's no double track or anything. And then we have some BVs and some harmonies and more BVs. So a very straightforward structure and not too many layers involved. So the important thing for me with these vocals was to really fill out the space of the song, because the beat is not massively crowded either, and the vocals are, you know, as you can see, there's a lot of spaces in the vocals, and as an engineer I love that, because that means that I have the freedom to add some nice delays, some reverbs, which can really swell and fill the gaps. And that was the main kind of philosophy and aim behind this track and behind this mix. It was really to add that atmosphere and that smoothness that you hear on these kind of R&B songs. So we'll start with the main verse layer, and I'll show you how it sounded raw, and then we'll dive in to how I treated it.
Something in the water got me feeling like ice, yeah. Oh, you press my buttons and get under all my skin.
So really nice recording, good quality recording, and really well performed. But it just needs so much to just bring it out. You know, when I hear a vocal like this with so much potential, I'm dying to just dive in, add some delays, some reverbs, compression, sweeten up the EQ and all of that. So let's get started. So first of all, there is a touch of Waves tune on this, which is just an auto-tune alternative. Now, it's not making us sound like a robot in any way, because that wouldn't suit the song at all, and that's not what we were after. But it does just help to kind of smooth things out overall. So I won't play you before and after with this, because it really doesn't make a massive difference to the sound. So we'll just dive straight in to the EQ. The first EQ, which is a simple Logic channel EQ, where all I'm doing, as you can see, is a high pass, just to take out any rumbles or plosives on a vocal.
Something in the water got me feeling like ice, yeah. Oh, you press my buttons and get under all my skin. Oh, you press my buttons and get under all my skin.
So really not doing much, very subtle. There's a slight boost here at 200 as well. Then we get into the SSL channel. So all I'm doing here is a touch of EQ. I'm boosting a little bit here in the high end, and I'm dipping a little bit in the low mids as well. This just brings a little bit more clarity to the mix, sweetens it up a little bit. So this is before and after.
Something in the water got me feeling like ice. Something in the water got me feeling like ice.
So it just adds that little bit of shimmer, but we're going to add a little bit more later on as well. Then this is the first compressor. This is the RVox. I still love this plugin.
Oh, you press my buttons and get under all my skin. Oh, you press my buttons and get under all my skin.
So that's really just adding a little bit of level and taking off some slight peaks. Next, we've got the waves de-esser.
Something in the water got me feeling like I. Something in the water got me feeling like I. Yeah.
That's the first de-esser. There's a couple of de-essers in this chain overall. So next in the chain is our compressor, and this is the main compressor on the vocal, and this is really going to push down the peaks and bring the dips up to kind of give you a much more consistent level in the vocal.
Oh, you press my buttons and get under all my skin. Oh, you press my buttons and get under all my skin.
Nice. So that's all the things on the actual channel, apart from the sends and the reverbs and things. But then we go on to the actual main vocal bus. So once I finish processing the channel, we send it to bus 2, which is my main vocal bus, and then we do more processing on there. So there's another compressor here, but this is not doing a whole lot.
Oh, you press my buttons and get under all my skin. Oh, you press my buttons and get under all my skin.
So again, just bringing more consistency and level and adding a little bit of tone. And then we've got another de-esser.
Something in our water we know you only deny. Something in our water we know you only deny.
Not doing a whole lot, but it just helps to smooth out the vocal once again. After that in the chain, this is something I used to use a long time ago. This is CLA Vocals by Waves. And with this, all we're doing is a slight bit of EQ, and we're adding a little touch of reverb and delay to the overall vocal bus.
Something in the water got me feeling like I. Something in the water got me feeling like I.
So just adding a little bit of life to the vocals. Next, we've got another de-esser, which is not doing a whole lot. The mix dry knob is down a little bit, as you can see, but this will really smooth out the vocal even more.
Oh, you press my buttons and get under all my skin.
Next is the real sweetener, and this is where the final EQ on the main vocal comes. And this is a dynamic EQ. So what I'm doing here, in these areas where I'm boosting, so this high mid in particular, you can see that I'm also compressing that area so that it brings it up, but when it gets too loud, it controls it. So this is a nice way of boosting frequencies without them getting too harsh or too overbearing, because it's going to push down when it gets too much. So check this out.
Something in the water got me feeling like I. Something in the water got me feeling like I. Oh, you press my buttons and get under all my skin.
So it's adding some nice high mids and highs up here, but without letting them get overbearing, because it's pulling down on them when they get too hot. And same with the low mids here. And that's really it in terms of EQ and compression on this vocal. Now we're going to jump over to verse 2 to focus on the actual sends, the reverb and delay that I used basically for this vocal. So this is the verse with all that same processing that I just showed you, but dry, with no reverbs and delays added.
Something in the waves, you had me swimming right around. Something in the way you got me feeling right now.
So the first thing I added was a ping pong delay, which is sort of a stereo delay to the vocal. So this is before and after.
Something in the waves, you had me swimming right around. Something in the way you got me feeling right now.
So really sweet, really nice. Just really helps to fill that gap nicely, and also It's a bit of ear candy, you know, going from left to right. So people listening in headphones will really appreciate this. Next is my Airbus. Now, what this is basically this plugin by Waves, which adds some sort of upper harmonics over here. So we're just basically adding some real nice high-end sheen with this. We've already added quite a bit, but with a track like this, you can never get too much of that. So this is without and with.
Something in the waves, you have me swimming right around. Something in the way you got me feeling right now. Write it down, up and write it down, show you.
So I turned it right up there to exaggerate the effect that that's doing, because it is quite subtle, but you'll see it just adds sort of like an upper harmonic sort of distortion, which kind of sounds sweet, you know. And then next we've got the main reverb, and let me play this part down here with and without to show you what that's doing.
Write it down, up and write it down, show you out, normalizing now. I'm done with falling, I'm better whenever I don't answer your call. We touch and go, still on my soul, I'm indigo and going overload. I held you close in liquid gold, still on my own, you.
So that's the finished sound of the verse vocal. Now I'm not going to focus too much on the chorus main vocal because it's pretty much the same treatment by and large. I mean, slightly different, but it's not enough to show you any great differences. The one big difference on it is that I added another delay to it, which is a sidechain delay. So let me show you the chorus with and without that.
We might as well love well, live well. We might as well love well, live well.
So I don't know if you can tell or not, but there's an extra delay going on there just to fill those gaps even more. I just wanted that slight difference between the verse and the chorus. So there is a few differences that I did to just make it stand out that little bit more from the verse. And that extra delay was one of the things. I've also added a little bit more reverb to the chorus than the verses, just to give it that sort of sense of more space when the chorus comes in. So now we'll go into the BVs and the harmonies. So the background vocals here, there's harmonies here, more backgrounds here. And these really add the sauce to the song. Let me play you the chorus with those in.
We might as well love well, live well. Oh, we might as well love well, live well. Oh, now you can't get me anymore. I do not love you like before.
Yeah, so as you can see, some of them are more like backing vocals that are saying the same thing as the main layer. Some of them are harmonies, but saying the same thing, and then some of them are more like fill-ins or ad-libs. But they're all pretty much treated the same. What I've done is put them on a separate bus to the main vocal and just added a crazy amount of reverb to them and sweetened them up even more. So let me play them on their own and just show you before and after. So this is before the extra reverb.
As well, love well, live well. Oh, 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 oh.
And with the extra reverb. So with these, it's just a case of really filling in the spaces, using big reverbs and big delays to just fill the gaps, make the track sound bigger on the choruses, and just give the ear more candy. Beautiful. So there's also a couple of these on the second verse as well.
Buy it down, I've been writing sound. Shut you out, no more lies, and now I'm done with falling. I'm better whenever I don't answer your call, 'cause I know that we touch you.
Just nice little fill-ins. It's more on the artist, to be honest. Credit to the artist for these because they really added to the song. So the next thing I wanted to show you, which is important on this song, is these delay throws here. So as you can see, they go all throughout the song on the choruses and the verses, and they just fill the gaps really nicely.
What do we know you only deny? You're distant lover, I control. Love well, live well. Oh, we might as well. Love well, live well.
So it's a pretty basic thing. We're using H delay on a half note, filtered here, and then after that we're adding a big reverb using the Valhalla shimmer. So let me play you the delays without this reverb and you'll see the difference. Always a good idea to add a nice swelling reverb to your delays when you're working on a song like this. And as you can see, this delay comes all the way through to the second verse.
Thin in the way you got me feeling right now.
And the whole of the chorus.
Bye bye. Love well, live well.
So the final thing I wanted to show you with the vocals is this last bit here, which is sort of like an outro or like a mini verse. We've got our main layer and 2 BVs. And this is actually probably one of my favorite parts of the song. Just sonically, the way it sounds, I just like it. So I wanted to cover it with you. So I'll play it first so you can get a feel of what's going on, and then I'll break down what's actually happening.
Something we know, something that you, something that I speak on and on. Something we don't, something we don't, something that you, something, yeah, something that I don't say out loud, but I need you to know that I figured out.
So first of all, like I said, we've got a main vocal here, which is exactly the same as the verse in terms of how I treated it. We've got these 2 nice little BV harmonies here.
Something we don't, something that you,
That go in the background.
something we don't, something that you.
But then what we have, these 2 layers of BVs here, they're sort of supposed to be quiet in the mix, but I just really wanted them to be loud. I really wanted them to be almost at the same level as the main layer, and even standing out more in a certain sense, because I just really liked the way that they worked with the main vocal. So let me play you in solo these 3 layers.
Ooh, something that I speak on and on. Something we don't, something we don't, something that you, something, yeah, something that I didn't say out loud, but I need you to know that I figured out.
I just really like it, and I haven't done anything special with these 2 BVs other than I've spreaded them out even more than I spreaded out the rest of the BVs. So I've used this S1 imager to add even more width. Now, those of you who are listening closely will have noticed that these 2 parts are singing the same thing.
Something that I want to speak on and on.
But these 4 parts here, there's a main layer and there's almost a harmony of that main layer.
Something we don't, something that you.
Now, what I would normally do with this, I normally would stack harmonies. So I would have sort of 2 high harmonies panned left and right. I would have 2 mid harmonies panned left and right, and 2 low harmonies panned left and right, etc. So I would normally have it balanced like that. So both sides are getting the same amount of each harmony, but stacked, if you follow me. This, I didn't have any stacks, and I decided to leave the main layer panned and the harmony layer panned on separate sides, and I just really liked the way it sounded. Now, this is not something I would usually do. I think I actually did this by accident originally and left it like that. And when I played it back, I just loved the way it sounded. And it just shows you, you know, not everything has to be perfect. Sometimes you stumble upon a sound and it just works. So I just really think this part works. As you can hear, this last bit here goes back into unison of two of the same vocal. So I just really like the way this part sounds, and I just wanted to show you that and demonstrate that sometimes you stumble upon something doesn't go right, but it goes right. So we'll move on to mastering now, and if you've watched my other two episodes, you'll recognize that I'm using a lot of the same kind of stuff here. My mastering chain does change over time and does change depending on the song, but generally I like to use a lot of the same stuff because I know how to use it well and I know what sound it's going to give me. So first of all, we're doing a little bit of bus compression with the SSL comp by Waves. After that, we're using the BX Digital V3, and the main thing I'm doing with this is adding some width, and I'm also EQing the sides a little bit, taking out some low end of just the sides and adding some high end, and this just adds more space and width to the song. So this is before and after with that. So as you can hear, adding more width and a little bit more brightness to the wide parts of the song. After that, we're using fresh air and just adding some sparkle and some shimmer to the song overall. So I think that's quite noticeable, just adding some nice shimmer and nice sort of saturation to the high end. After that, we're using MoTT by Slate Digital, just on a 13%. This just adds a little bit of glue, puts everything together and brings out some nice dynamics in the mix as well. Very, very subtle. Next is the main limiter, and this is the limiter I always use. It's Limitless by DMG Audio, and this will add a lot of level to the song. So as you can see, not doing a massive amount of gain reduction, but a decent amount, 3.4. And I like to use a multi-band limiter so I can kind of prioritize where I want the limiting not to take place as much. And in this case, I'm boosting a bit at the low end so that it doesn't limit so much down there. After that, the isotope maximizer, literally just bringing up a little bit of level and also setting the ceiling at minus 0.5. And that's really it for my mastering chain. Now, obviously, when you're mixing the song yourself and you're mastering it, which is the case for me a lot of the time or most of the time, you know, you're mixing with the master in mind. So, you know, I'm able to kind of mix into these plugins and then change things as I go in the mix. So you're really kind of mastering while you're mixing it. At least that's how I do it. So there's not so much emphasis on the mastering bus because I'm doing everything I can within the mix so that I don't have to correct anything in the master. At least that's the aim, you know. So let me play you the track unmastered and then mastered, and we'll pick a different part of the song. So we'll play this second verse here.
Buy it down, up and write it sound. Shut you out, normalize, and now I'm done with falling. I'm better whenever I don't answer your calls. I know that we touch and go, still on my soul. I'm indigo and going overload. I held you close, liquid gold. Still on my own, you are not alone, so we might as well love well, live well. Oh, we might as well love well, live well.
So obviously adding a lot of level, which is kind of the purpose of the master for me when I'm mixing, but also adding some nice brightness and a little bit of width as well. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I decided to go a little bit of a different route with this song, seeing as it was a different type of song and a different genre. I didn't go into the intricacies and the details of every single plugin and every single thing I did. I more wanted to kind of show you the general kind of idea that I had for the song and the vision that I had for the song, and then carry it out the best I could. So I hope I've done a decent job of demonstrating kind of what my thoughts were when I first heard the song, and then how I went about kind of implementing that. It was all about creating space, width and smoothness with the vocals with this song, and also bringing the beat to life a little bit. This song was well produced and well recorded, which always helps. So for me, it was just about adding that kind of final touch on everything and bringing it all together in a final package. Please subscribe to the channel if you're new. There's more and more videos like this coming. Hit me up with any suggestions or comments if you have any feedback for me. Visit my website or follow me on Instagram if you're interested in any of my services. I'll leave all the details in the description below, and I'll hopefully see you on the next one. Peace.